I'm going to try to change your perception. We have 3 different people, 6 different eyes. In a moment, everyone's going to see the same thing. Or not. You're going to see what I mean in a moment. Everybody right now take a deep breath in. Look at me for a second. That's the moment. Stop. Right there. Take a peek. Don't say it, just remember it. Keep it in your mind. That's going to be yours. I'm going to lay those down. Michelle? Same thing. I'm going to go real slow. You're going to see all different cards. Yell out stop whenever you'd like.
Okay, stop.
Right there. Get a peek. That one's yours.
Okay.
Keep that in your mind.
Okay.
Last but not least, Katie. Good. You're synced up. As I go, I'll go real slow. Say the word stop anytime you'd like.
Stop.
Right there. Get a peek. And remember it. Okay. You could have thought of any of these cards. What I want everyone to do is when I clap my hands together, I want you to say out loud at the same time the card you're thinking of. 1, 2, 3.
5 of hearts.
Check this out. Here's the weird thing. You could have thought of any of those cards. You could have thought of the Ace of Spades, the 6 of Diamonds, the 7 of Clubs, the 10 of Spades. They're still seeing it. They're still seeing it this way. You see this? The Jack of Clubs. Ladies, what you're seeing is not real. This is an illusion through and through. Snap. I want you to see. None of this was real. I want you to see this for a moment. This is not an illusion. I'm Oz Perlman. Welcome to the Svengali deck DVD. This is one of the first trick decks I ever bought as a kid, right when I got into magic. I thought I knew everything about the Svengali deck. Boy, was I wrong. Completely wrong. The tricks on this DVD are just things I never even would have conceived of with the Svengali deck. If you use this sparingly and in the right situation, this is devastating. 5 of hearts. Okay, here's the weird part. No, I want you to look down. You're going to fool your own friends with a deck that they have at home sitting in their magic drawer. They'll ask you, how did you do that? They're not going to believe you when you tell them it's with this Svengali deck. Before I came over here, I put one card away, and it was the 5 of hearts. You can force a card in pretty much the best way imaginable. You can use this for publicity purposes. There's no better way to force a card. And then there's all different methods you can use with it that can enhance your existing routines. Diamonds, the 7 of Clubs, the 4 of Spades, the 5 of Hearts, any of these cards, so they're still seeing it. Did you see that? They still think they're seeing it. No, folks, that was an illusion. All of these cards are different. I've been hypnotizing you this entire... Don't overlook this. This is packed with information, various techniques, 6 different killer routines. This is the Svengali deck. What is a Svengali deck? Let's go through it. You're going to receive a gimmicked deck of cards that contains 52 cards. 26 of these cards will be a duplicate. In this case, it's the Jack of Diamonds. In yours, it may very well be different. Jack of Diamonds, all the way through and through the deck, and more than likely you're going to get this with the Jack of Diamonds going every other card. That's not mandatory. They may be out of place. Doesn't impact the deck at all. The principle involved is called short and long cards. Your non-gimmicked cards, i.e. your normal cards, are the regular size. These are all your indifferent cards. Your force card, in my case the Jack of Diamonds, is going to be shorted. It's going to be hard to get an idea, but if we get in close, we might be able to see the fact that there's a slight lip. It's maybe a 32nd of an inch, quite small, but small enough that when you riffle, it can be picked up. The use of short and long cards dates all the way back to Robert Houdin, and the actual term Svengali is that of the hypnotist, kind of the mesmerizer, who has powers over his audience's minds. Without further ado, let's get into the techniques and the routines. Displaying the deck. I'm going to show you different ways to display the cards so you can show the cards as all different, and you can also show the cards as all the same, given the situation and the routine. Now the way that the long and short cards work is that from one angle, if you riffle or dribble from one direction, you'll see the cards one way, and if you riffle or dribble from the other, you'll see them in another direction. Let me show you what I mean. Here we go. To show all the cards as different, one option is to riffle using your thumb with the face of the cards towards the audience and let the cards fall off your fingers. They won't see any of the force cards because of the fact that the long cards are springing off your thumb. Right there, that was 2 cards as one, giving you an exposed view. Your thumb is only able to riffle off the long cards. That's one method. Another method of displaying the cards is all different. is instead of just using your thumb and positioning it towards the audience, you can dribble the cards. To dribble, I'm holding the deck at the inner end with my right thumb and at the outer end with my middle and ring finger, maybe your pinky if you want, it's not necessary, and my forefinger is just bracing, putting a little bit of pressure, bowing the deck down slightly concave. I'm going to allow the cards just with gravity to squeeze and just push off my hand. If you tilt your hand up while doing this, people can see the cards going by and they can see all these different cards. Likewise, you can turn it this way and do it the same manner. So either towards them or with your hand this way. Either one is able to show all different cards. Now, if you're in the business of showing them as all the same, given the routine, the way to do that is simply riffle in the opposite direction. So let the cards fall with the backs towards the audience. That way the short cards get felt first and they naturally fall together and they're going to see every one of the force cards. This will be self-explanatory once the deck is in your hands. Likewise, you can do the same with the dribble. Allow them to dribble off your hands. Those are the two different ways to display the deck. Shuffling your deck. Now, you want to be able to shuffle this deck of cards without losing the order, which is long card, short card, long card, short card, all the way through with the force cards and indifference going in pairs. The way to do that, one, is using a riffle shuffle, using the edges of the deck. What I mean by that is you're going to actually shuffle the deck using your thumbs, and this way the cards are going to fall in pairs, groups. And you can push them or you can do a waterfall depending on your skill level. Now I know this doesn't seem intuitive. You're thinking they really are getting shuffled, but by virtue of the fact that every time your thumb is riffling off, you're getting two cards together. It's the same as when you're displaying these cards. Therefore, the cards are remaining together as pairs, and you can shuffle them this way all that you want, and it still remains in that revolving pattern of long card, short card, long card, short card, all the way through. Another option is shuffling them face up towards the audience so they can see all different cards, doing an overhand shuffle. Now traditionally with an overhand shuffle, you're going to pull cards with your thumb. This is a bit different now. The way you're going to do it is you're going to, as if you were dribbling the cards, only horizontally in midair, you're going to let the cards spring off your fingers. I'm actually squeezing with my index finger and letting the cards pop off together. Since the longer cards are the only ones that can physically pop off your fingers when you're squeezing this way, they're seeing all different cards. They're never going to see one of the force cards, and the cards are all remaining together in pairs. So cards are just being shuffled right in front of them, and that's the overhand shuffle. Here's how to cut your Svengali deck while maintaining the order. One way is if you are showing indifferent cards on the face and you want to remain with indifferent cards on the face, you're going to squeeze the deck from above if it's face down and allow the cards to kind of riffle, almost as if you were dribbling. The same exact action as displaying the cards that we learned. You're going to allow them to dribble off and give the deck a cut. That's going to ensure that every time you're cutting by the long edges of the long cards and maintaining an indifferent card on the face. Now, to do it the opposite way, if you want to display one of the force cards, which is one of the short cards, you're going to have to do it slightly differently. The way to do it if the deck is face down in your hand is you want to engage a short card by pushing down with your thumb. It's the same motion or action as riffling down. Notice that if I did that, every card that passes by is force card, one of the short ones. So what I do is I push down with my thumb and I cut at that point. That's going to cut one of the force cards to the bottom. Once again, that's going to cut one of the force cards to the bottom. Instead of riffling up, which will give me an indifferent card, I push down, and that cuts one of the force cards to the bottom. Now, if you want to do that same exact action with the deck face up, it's very easy to do. You simply reverse the motions. You're going to riffle up in order to get a force card. To get one of the force cards, lift up, and then cut. It's quite easy to do because you can actually look down while you're doing it and see that you're cutting at a force card. And if the deck is face up and you want to cut to one of your indifferent cards, one of your long cards, simply reverse the motion and riffle down and cut. That's cutting the deck. Let me show you some ways to force a card. The easiest and most popular method that we're going to be doing on this DVD is dribbling the cards down. And when somebody says stop, we're going to show them the top card of that group. Now, by virtue of the fact that we're dribbling with the long cards, my fingers are engaged in the long cards, this is always going to land on a short card, i.e. a force card. It's always going to be a jack of diamonds in this case. That's the easiest method. The other beauty of it is if you hold the cards kind of up while you're doing this, they can see the cards as they go by and they yell out, stop, and I go right there, okay, grab it. So you're handing them this card. An alternate method is going to be to hold the cards and riffle downwards. This is going to engage the short end of the cards. Now, the way you can do it this way is you can have them say stop, stop right there, get a peek and remember it and close the deck. They're all going to be going by this way, so make sure they're not seeing that. Or you can have them put their finger in. So say, I'm going to let these go by, just stick your finger in wherever. Right there? Perfect. I want you to be happy. And they lift it up, and then they feel as if they were involved because they actually chose the moment with their finger. Those are two methods of doing it. Another method, which you can use, is having them deal down to a certain card. Have them name a number, let's say 7. They deal down to the 7th card, they look at it, and they remember it, and you put them away. That's a very fair method if you're using the card to impossible location or any other type of trick where the order of the cards at the end doesn't matter and you're going to produce the card somewhere impossible. 4 or 5 different methods to force a card there. Here are 2 flourishes that are of good use with the Svengali deck. They serve multiple purposes. Let's go through them. One is the waterfall. To do this move, if you do this face up, you're going to engage the cards by the long edges and you're going to have a great, beautiful display of showing all the cards different while also, doing a nice little flourish. Let me try and slow this down for you. It's going to be difficult to do slowly because gravity does not like to slow down. I'll do it at speed so you can see what it looks like. You're seeing all the cards go by. You're seeing a mixture of clubs, hearts, diamonds. The way I'm doing it is I'm squeezing the deck like so, using my thumb on the inner edge, my forefinger, middle finger, and ring finger on the outer edge. I'm squeezing it, and you're going to want to do this over a table at first because it's easy to drop the cards. You're going to squeeze them, and you're going to let them fall slowly from your thumb and middle finger. They kind of release the pressure on the face cards and allow them to fall down. Now, once again, this is very difficult to do slowly. So I'm going to show you how this goes at speed. Look at what I'm doing. I'm releasing the pressure on my thumb and on the other fingers and allowing them to fall. As you get better at this, you can start to increase the distance and start to go further and further away, very similar in essence to springing the cards. And that was the waterfall flourish. Now let's get into the ribbon spread display. This is a great way to show the entire deck as the same card. And the way you're going to do this is by spreading them out on the table. Let me show you how it goes. To begin with, it's probably going to be beneficial to cut one of the force cards to the face. We're going to do that the same way we learned in cutting the deck section by riffling up and cutting one of the force cards to the front. So look down while you're doing it, you riffle up, and you're going to cut a force card to the top. Just like we used a dribble to display the cards by letting them fall off the fingers, by squeezing slightly, that same motion is going to be used to allow the cards to drop off onto a table as you go side to side and show all force cards. Notice the cards don't separate because they're being pushed off from the short edges. A little subtlety that can be used with this is if you're trying to show this as psychological suggestion and people are being hypnotized, you might not want to let them see this for long. So watch this motion. I'm going to very quickly spread them and pick them up simultaneously. So it's as if it's a trick of the eyes, as if they didn't just see that happen, and then instantly I'll show the cards as being all different yet again. This is something very similar to what we're going to use in the everywhere and nowhere routine later. Those are 2 flourishes. The double lift is one of the cornerstone moves of card magic, one of the fundamental sleights. The Svengali makes this principle easy for anyone to do. The sleight becomes instantly accessible to anybody, even beginners in card magic. Traditionally, a double lift is known as picking up 2 cards as one. The use of short and long cards allows that to happen instantly, without any sleight of hand, without any get ready or breaks. Let me show you the double lift. It looks almost the exact same as picking up 1 card legitimately. Take a look. The top card in this current situation is one of our short cards, a force card. Underneath it is one of the indifferent long cards, in this case a King of Hearts. Better yet, let's get an even better contrast for you. A Jack of Diamonds along with a 4 of Diamonds. If I were to reach down and try to pick these two up, even pick up the top card just by itself, if I grab by the inner edge with my thumb and my middle and ring finger by the outer edge and just lightly brace the middle of the card with my forefinger, I can't even pick up one card. Watch, I'll naturally pick up, when I do this, two cards. The reason for this is that since this card is shortened, I can't really grab it by itself. My fingers naturally engage the long edges. To pick up one card legitimately, you want to mimic the same action. You don't want your double lift and your single lift to look much different. You want to keep them very similar. So what I recommend doing is pushing this card over very slightly and then picking it up identically, so that there's a continuity between picking up a double and there's a continuity between picking up a single. It's a very minor change. People won't notice the difference when you thumb that one over and turn it as opposed to picking up the double here. Now, a few pointers. When you pick up the double lift, you want to try to maintain the face of the card towards the audience. You never want to do this and have the side going towards the audience, because there's a likelihood, I'm exposing this right now so you can see that the cards will separate slightly and they'll be able to notice that. So the proper technique to display a double to the audience is to pick it up and always show the face directly towards them. Be aware of your angles. If people are to the sides of you, then you may want to turn it over this way so that the face is facing everybody, so you can do this surrounded. You just want to make sure that you're never showing a side and somehow having the card split up and revealing a double. That's the double lift. Tracking the number. Starts off with shuffling it up and having a spectator call out stop as we go through here. Could be anywhere at all. Let's pretend I'm the spectator. They yell out stop right there. Perfect. Get a peek at that card. Make sure you remember it. Fair as can be. Leave it right there in the middle. And I ask the spectator to watch me shuffle. And as I'm shuffling, call out a number. How far down in the deck do you think that card is? They're going to say maybe 18 cards down. I say, try this again. After that shuffle, where is it now? They might say 12 cards in. I go one more time. Give me a number. How about there? Did it move up? Did it move down? They go, 9 cards down. Forget about Vegas. You should be gambling right now. Forget about magic. You should be in the casino. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 cards down is their selection. And I want you to see, had they said 8, had they said 10, they would never have gotten it. This will work every single time. That's tracking the number. Tracking the number. This is great. This makes you look like a sleight of hand expert. We start off by having a card selected. In this case, we are going to force a card. We're going to let the cards drop in a dribble fashion, and you're going to have somebody say stop. Now, just a quick note on forcing the card. Let them see different cards as you're doing this. And then whenever they want, they say stop, and you're going to lift up and have them peek at the forced card. Boom. They have the forced card. Close the deck. Be very fair. Square them up if you'd like. Put them on the table if you have a working surface, so it really looks that everything is above and beyond fair. Pick up the cards, and you can have any type of pattern line. You could talk about poker, which is very popular nowadays, Texas Hold'em, or blackjack, and how the best card counters in the world are able to track cards in the deck. Tell them to trust their instinct and watch you shuffle the deck. And now we're going to do the same technique we learned in the shuffling the deck section, which is a riffle shuffle, and we're going to shuffle the cards. If you'd like, you could throw in a few overhand shuffles. It won't change anything. The deck will remain in short, long, indifferent forced card pattern. As you're doing this, ask them where they think the card is. Tell them, name a number between 1 and 52. Tell them, most people will hesitate. They won't want to say a number. Tell them, no, go for it. Try it. Trust your instincts. Let's say they say 28. Great. Have them pick another one. Shuffle again. Say, how about now after that shuffle? What you subtly want to do is you want to influence them to pick an odd number that's hopefully less than 20. This serves two purposes. One, your forced cards are going to all be at odd numbers. So you want them to choose an odd numbered card so when you count down, it will be there. Also, you don't want them to pick 47 because that's going to be a very uninteresting effect when you're counting down to 47 cards. It's going to be quite boring. So if you can get them to pick a number between maybe 1 to 20 that's odd, it'll be better. So if you just give it a few shuffles, maybe 3 or 4, you're likely going to stumble upon them picking that number naturally. So try that out. If it's not working, so be it. You don't want to do this ad nauseum. You don't want to do it 10 shuffles until they finally give you an odd number. Work with what they do. If you aren't able to get an odd number, your second best scenario is to count down and then flip over the next card. But like I said, that's preferred not to be done because it's not natural. So let's say after about a third shuffle, they say 11. I go, that sounds right to me. Come in, take a look. You're going to casually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can deal that on the table if you'd like and have them turn it over. Boom, 11. Now, a nice little subtlety is at this point you can turn the deck up and say, look, if you would have picked 10, you wouldn't have been right. If you would have picked 12, your guess of 11 was absolutely perfect, because the 2 cards next to these are always going to be indifferent, so it's a nice little subtle indicator that, wow, they picked just the right number. You put the jack right back in its position, and you're reset. The deck is back in order. Notice I didn't reverse count the cards on the table. The way you would normally deal cards, I'm counting them and keeping them in order. You'll want to do that if you want to maintain the same stack. That's tracking the number. Spelling a name. Once again, shuffle these up, give them a good mix, and have a card freely selected. Calling out stop as we go anywhere, let's say right there, and get a peek at that card. Make sure you remember it. Fantastic. One of the first tricks I ever learned was actually something a magician did for me, where he had me pick a card like that, shuffle them up, shuffle them up, shuffle them up really well, and then spell my name. My name was easy, O's, O-Z, 2 cards down from the top, bam, that was my card, I couldn't believe it. Let's try this a little differently. Maxwell, let's try your name. In fact, let's give these a little shuffle. Tell me when to stop. Right there? Perfect. I won't mix it up anymore. Maxwell, M-A-X-W-E-L-L, Maxwell. And there is that selected card right at your name. Spelling the name. Here's another little crafty gem using our best friend's Bengali deck. Very, very similar to tracking the number. What we're going to be doing is forcing a card. Keep in mind, all of these tricks can be with a shuffle deck, so to speak. As long as you're using one of the 2 shuffles taught in the shuffling section, an overhand or a riffle shuffle, the deck remains in that order of long, short, indifferent force cards. Have a card selected and forced. Have it say stop, and they're going to peek one of the force cards. At this point, you're welcome to shuffle a little bit. If you'd like, have the spectator cut the deck. If they cut the deck by the long edges, they're naturally going to cut and retain the order of the cards, whereby you're going to have a force card on top and an indifferent card on the bottom. Sorry about that. That's a Jack of Hearts. Notice that's not one of the force cards. So you can see a 2 of Hearts and a Jack of Diamonds. So you can even allow them to have some input into the trick by having them cut right before you spell a name. Now, presentational ideas on this. You could have them spell their own name. If you can find out what their name is in advance, in your head, do a quick rundown to see if the letters, if it comes out to be an odd or an even number of letters. Many names are short. Bill, for example. If it's Bill, you know it's 4 letters. Let's say their name is Dan. You know it's going to be 3 letters. It's going to be easier to do because it's going to land right on an odd card. If you're able, if it's a longer name and you're not quite sure about it, you can figure it out as you're going. So if it was William, for example, W-I-L-L-I-A-M, and I counted, and as I was doing it, I just noticed it was 7 letters. If for any reason you hit an 8-letter name or a 10-letter name that's even, you can drop those cards and say, William, your card is. And so it's as if you spelled the name to reach their card. It doesn't look as ambiguous as a number. If they pick 10 and you deal 10 cards and go to the 11th, that logistically doesn't make sense. It sounds like, no, I said 10, not 11. But with the name, you can spell the whole name and say, William, your card is the, and it changes the focus. It doesn't seem contrived. Hopefully that makes sense. Otherwise, if their name has an odd number of letters, you can go right to that card. Another great idea with this is have a set name that you always use. For example, the first magician you ever, enjoyed, who inspired you. Maybe you were inspired by Houdini, which luckily is 7 letters. You can always do this as the Houdini trick. This is the Houdini trick. Doesn't matter where you cut. When I spell down to Houdini, do you want to cut again? Back is revealed. And similar to in tracking the numbers, you can show that the card before and the card after are both indifferent cards, which adds a lot of credibility to the effect. Play with it. You can use your grandfather's name, say the first trick you ever learned was by your grandpa, or use Houdini and say that this is the spirit of Houdini come back to life in this card trick. Make it your own. have fun with it. That's spelling the name. The ambitious card. Little ambitious card sequence for you. Start off by having a card picked. They can shove their finger in there, they can yell out stop. Let's say they say stop right there. And we get a card. Let's get a view of that. In fact, let's turn that over. It's not one of those secrets. Everybody can see it. It's a jack. Okay. Watch. Give it a cut in the middle. That's the moment when that jack jumps back on top. Now I'll admit that was quite fast. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to make it even more fair. I'm going to cut the jack into the middle. I want you to see for a fact that jack couldn't possibly be on top. You can still see it. Watch this moment when it rises right through, just like that, to the top of the deck. In fact, let's take this even one step further. Really take this to the next level. This jack sticking out of the pack, just like so. In fact, I'll turn it over. You'll see it till the last moment. I'm going to hold on to this top card, our 4 of diamonds. Watch that jack all the way till the last moment when it jumps back. But wait, this isn't the top card. This is second from the top. This is that top card. And that's an ambitious card sequence. The ambitious card is one of the most popular plots in all of card magic. It's so direct, it transcends the language barriers. Put a card in the middle, it jumps on top. You don't even need to talk for it. There's no words necessary. The effect is crystal clear. Svengali deck makes this easy to do. It can play into another routine, or you can use this just right by itself. I'm going to show you a quick sequence of 3 phases, each of which builds to an eventual climax. We're going to need for this to know how to force a card and to do the double lift, so you're going to want to review the section on double lifting using the Svengali deck. A card is forced and returned to the middle. For the first phase, you want to make it appear on top. Notice how I'm taking a single card, I'm giving a slight push, and I'm picking it up the identical way that I'm going to in a moment when I do the double lift. Consistency is very important. If you flip over single cards like this, and it seems natural, and then all of a sudden you get very robotic and very cautious to do the second one, it's going to be a very clear-cut tell to your audience. They're going to realize something is wrong. Try to mimic the motions. When you're doing the sleight and when you're doing a real normal, natural move, mimic the same actions. So phase number 1, the card is selected, it's put in the middle, they see it in the middle, and it instantly appears on top. Now we want to build this. Even though we're essentially going to be doing the same thing again, we want to make this build. So to make this build the second time, leave the card face up, cut the deck, and when you're cutting the deck, you're dribbling down. So you're cutting at an indifferent card. Dribbling down, cut the deck, and turn over the top card. Close the deck and show, using a double lift, that the jack has not jumped yet. And then do some sort of a move, maybe cover the deck, snap your fingers, create some sort of magic moment. And also, you don't want this to be too perfect. Since the real explanation is that you have more than one jack of diamonds, you don't want it to look that way. If it's too obvious, if you really just put it in the middle and crystal clear, you just turn it over right away on top, that seems to almost give away the solution. So you want to make there be some sort of possible way you did that. Maybe you use sleight of hand. You've got to create an out for them in their mind. You don't want this to be too perfect. So create some sort of a moment as if you just did something, and then turn over the top card. Now for the final phase, we're going to take this one level further even. We're going to do an identical handling. Cut the deck. And for this one, you're actually going to turn over the double right away and show it to them. They're going to see this jack of spades right now. So this card is in your hand while the other jack is even showing. Turn this back down and thumb off the card. Flip the other jack over, and while you're holding another duplicate jack of diamonds, which they believe is an indifferent card, in this case the jack of spades, you're going to use that card to push this one into the middle. And then say, watch it jump on top. And in this gesture, it's going to seem as if you're pointing to this card. And what you could do at this point is turn this over and show that that's not it. Because that's the second card from the top. This is the top card. There you have it. That's the ambitious card sequence. This one's going to be a bit different. You're actually going to use a few different spectators for this one. Give them a little shuffle, and 2 different people are going to assist you. The way it works is we're going to break the deck into about 2 relatively equal pieces. Pretty good size. Maybe one more card over here, so they're, looks pretty equal to me. And I have one of the spectators select a pile. Let's say they take this one. They give them a shuffle, and I give mine a shuffle. And they pick out a card. For explanation purposes, we'll say it's this 5 of hearts. This card is going to go into the middle of the other pile. And this is when I try to give them my sense of touch. A sense where they're instantly able to find that card, even though it's in the middle, even though we take and we even mix these up a little bit. They're able to reach over. This is the spectator doing this. They will reach over and they will instantly cut right to their 5 of hearts. Imagine the look of surprise on their face when they cut to their own card that's just been shuffled into the pile. Now let's take this a step further, even more amazing. We go ahead and we take that 5 back out. Mix these up. We'll even put one of the piles away. Mix the other one up. And have the spectator touch any card they want. Let's say they pick this one, the jack. Put it back in. Mix them again. Under seemingly impossible test conditions. Lay them down. Have them cut any amount of cards they want. Tell them to really be picky. They could cut halfway, they could cut to the top. Just trust their instinct. They're going to instantly cut again right to the card that they just picked. Twice in a row. Feel like a pro. I mean, just dead cutting right to cards that they just thought of. Touch. Here's a routine that goes along the genre of spectator as the magician, as if you're sending your powers into the spectator's body. You're allowing them to have the sense of touch, to instantly cut to thought of selected cards. We're going to change this up a little bit, and I want to have you thinking outside the box here, where you're going to get very accustomed to having this Svengali deck in that set order of indifferent, force, long card, short card, long card, short card. You don't need to do that. This should also be thought of as a half one-way force deck. You have 26 cards that are force cards, along with 26 indifferent cards, and you can think of it that way. The way you're going to have the deck set up to begin this effect is very different. You're going to have the 26 force cards on top, followed by the 26 indifferent cards. So that's the beginning move. That's how you start off with this. There's 2 ways to get into this. One is you could deal the deck into 2 piles if you wanted. That's one good way of doing it. Or you could set it up like this before you get started. If you set it up like this before you get started, it allows you to casually display all the cards as different. While I'm just spreading them out casually, you can display them all as different. If you want, you can kind of Hindu shuffle the bottom half by itself. Make sure you're not cutting into these. Just cut 20 cards or less and just mix them casually. You're going to separate the deck into 2 halves. The fact that half the deck is short and half the deck is long makes this very easy. When you're doing this, buckle the cards, bend them upwards, and that's going to ensure that you cut right at the division point between your short cards and your long cards. Once again, so I can show it to you, by the edges, my thumb feels, my middle finger feels that these are the long cards and these are the short cards. So I cut right to that break and I put down the 2 halves. So we now have 26 long cards that are all different, 26 short cards that are all the same. You're now going to Magician's Force one of these 2 piles. In essence, you want to make sure the spectator picks the indifferent cards. So the way that I script this is the exact wording you're going to use, is tell the spectator, go ahead and pick up one of the piles, and you don't want to pause here. You don't want to just say, go ahead and pick up one of the piles. Done. Say, go ahead and pick up one of the piles, and notice how I'm still in talking mode. So let's say they picked up the indifferent cards. I say, go ahead and pick up one of the piles. Good. Let's say they didn't, though. If they picked up the force cards, I go ahead and pick up one of the piles and hand it to me. It's as if I didn't pause. I'm simply reacting. I would have said the same thing either way. It's a very simple Magician's Force. As soon as they've picked up the pile, you act accordingly. If they pick up the indifferent cards, go ahead and pick up a pile. They picked up, good. Okay, great. I'll pick one up too. Or go ahead and pick up a pile and hand it to me. Fantastic. Take the other one and pick it up as well. So either way, you're rolling with the punches. It seems as if that's the way you always say it. That's the key. Don't let the sentence end. You're just relaxing for a moment and immediately speaking as they act. So either case, you now have the force pile. Shuffle them up. Make sure it's face down. You don't want them to flash the fact that these cards are all the same. If you want to do a riffle, make sure you're not flashing cards. Perfect. At this point, it becomes kind of a do-as-I-do trick. Have them reach in and grab a card out of the middle of their pile. They're going to pick one out. Let's say in this case it's the 6 of clubs. It doesn't matter which one it is. You return it into the middle of your pile. If you do decide to shuffle your face-up cards, or I'm sorry, your forced cards, be very aware of the fact that the 6 remains somewhere in the middle of the cards for when they cut, preferably right in the middle or slightly above the middle. So while you're shuffling, just be aware. You should be able, just by touch, when you square these up, to feel it. I can feel that it's right there. Okay, I could instantly feel it. You can almost see it. This is going to be very hard to capture on camera because we're talking about 30 seconds of an inch, but it's right here. I can feel it instantly with my finger. Hence, I can cut to it. So it's in the middle. I put the cards down. Now, a great little subtlety to add into this is if you have the box of cards handy next to you, lay the box of cards next to the deck. Let me show you what I mean by this. You're going to put the deck of cards right next to here, which is going to casually, without mentioning it, not allow them to cut from the sides, because they can't cut from the sides. Combine that with the fact that you gesture to them to just pick up the cards. They're going to pick them up by the short edges. They're going to cut from here. Tell them to come over, grab the cards, just relax and lift up. You're going to instantly be able to tell, just by looking at their hands, if they've cut to the right part. You can see it. If you feel that they haven't, have them put it back down and say, no, I really need you to relax. We're going to work together on this. Nothing can go wrong. Just work with me. Reach in here, and I want you to just let them fall. As if they pick them up and let them fall, and they turn over and bam, they've cut right to their card. So that's the first phase. You're going to take the cards from them, turn the cards down, take the 6 out, and replace it in the other pile. So that this is now, once again, all force cards. Mix these up slightly and have them touch any one of the cards. You pull it out, have them look at it and remember it, tell them to put it back anywhere they want, and once it's back in there, you mix this and you do a challenge repeat. It's as if you're doing the effect again, but this time they know what to expect. This time they can actively try and avoid it. They might think from the first time, wow, how did I cut right to that card? Maybe he put it right in the middle and that's where I was supposed to go. They're going to have a lot of ideas swirling in their head. Here, you're going to dissuade them of everything. Anything they could have imagined, you're going to blow apart their world because they're going to cut anywhere they want. Little do they know all 26 cards are the same. They're going to cut right to their selected card again. So you've put the card back in, you've mixed it up. It does not matter where they cut. I would tell them to trust their instinct. Maybe they want to cut almost all the cards, maybe just a few, maybe right in the middle. Wherever they cut, have them lift, tell them not to turn it over yet, build the moment, tell them how impossible this would be, and have them name their card out loud before they turn it over. They'll say Jack of Diamonds. That's very important. Have them say it first. Then when they turn, that's the moment. That's the big climax, when they've cut right to their thought of card once again under seemingly test conditions. That's touch. I'm going to try to hypnotize you guys. But it's going to happen really quick, and you're not going to believe it. It's going to happen in under a second. Take a look. I'm going to let these fall, and I want you guys to each look at a card. What's your name?
Katie.
Katie?
Wag.
Wag. And step on right in the middle for me. You guys separate, because each of you guys are going to see a card, and I don't want everyone else to see it. It's going to be a secret. Hold out your hand for me. Here you go. Grab a few. Hold on to them. Tight. Hold out your hand. Grab a few, and Wag, grab the rest. Katie, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to go real slow here. Say stop whenever you want.
Stop.
Right there?
Yeah.
Look at it. Remember it. Have you got it?
Yeah.
That's going to be yours. Hold on to these. Go ahead. Same thing. Yell out stop whenever you want.
Stop.
Okay. Look at it. Remember that one. Have you got it?
Yeah.
And one last one, my friend Wag. Go ahead. Say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
Okay. Get a peek. Have you got it?
Got it.
Everybody is thinking of a card. Now this is something that's great with families. Look at me. Take a deep breath in. And relax. Good. Right there, I put the same image in everybody's mind. Everybody's in sync. Are you ready for this? Everybody on the count of 3, say your card out loud. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Eight of spades.
Folks, what you've just seen is actual hypnosis. You could have picked any card, the 10 of diamonds, the 7 of clubs, the 4 of spades, the 5 of hearts, any of these cards, because they're still seeing it. Did you see that? They still think they're seeing it. No, folks, that was an illusion. All of these cards are different. I've been hypnotizing you this entire... Everywhere and nowhere. This is a serious reputation maker. When you combine this trick with a possible deck switch and another deck of non-gaffed cards that you've been using throughout and you've switched the deck, this one becomes really, really powerful. Something that can make people believe that you're able to hypnotize them, truly. The premise is 3 different people thinking of cards. They all turn out to be the same. All the cards are the same, then all the cards are different. Now, before you get started, one thing you have to do is put one of the force cards in your pocket. So you take one of the force cards out of the deck, place that into your pocket, into your wallet, whatever you want. I think the pocket is good enough because it's minimalist. It doesn't have to come out of a wallet and an envelope. That's overkill. Just in your pocket. The deck is in standard Svengali order. What that means is indifferent card, force card, indifferent card, force card, indifferent card, force card, long card, short card, long card, short card, i.e. the same as they're normally set up in, the regular Svengali deck. Audience management plays a big part in this routine. You do not want the cards to prematurely be told to other people. Every group or person that sees a card should be in their own area. If you're doing this for, let's say, 3 girls that tend to kind of stand next to each other, spread them apart. So everybody sees their own card and doesn't share it with one another. Tell them it's a psychological experiment. Secrecy is of the utmost importance. You really have to drive that home, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of the impact. You dribble the cards off your fingertips down. What that does is it's always going to ensure that you're getting pairs of cards together. Pairs of short and long cards, pairs of short and long cards, pairs of short and long cards. Every one of these piles will have a force card at the end. Oh, unless it's the top one. That doesn't matter. For the first person, you casually dribble the cards. Let them see indifferent cards while you're doing this. Tell them they're going to yell out stop at any point that they want, and they're going to look at the card and only them. So they say stop. You push over and force on them their selection. Make sure only they can see it. Tell them to keep it to themselves. Put the deck down. Repeat the same procedure with every person from all 3 groups of cards. Then put all the 3 piles together. Now let's get into presentation. You can make this your own. Create whatever presentation you want, but you want to define the magic moment in this. You want to create the impression that all 3 people were different up until the moment that you hypnotize them or change their mind, and you put the same suggestion in all their minds. It's nice to do a clap. Maybe you have a pendulum and have them focus in on it. Maybe you have some sort of magical item. Whatever you want to do, have something that makes this unique. You want to have a visual appeal to this trick. Once they've been hypnotized, have a moment where either you snap your fingers or you drop the pendulum or you clap and have all 3 of them say the card out loud that they're thinking of. So they're all going to say their card at the same moment. Boom. They're all going to say Jack of Diamonds or whatever card is forced. They're going to look at each other and it's going to seem really weird. That's the moment when you want to turn the deck over. Before you turn it down, you're going to want to do the cutting the deck sequence where you cut a force card to the face. The way to do that from a face down deck, because right now notice this is an indifferent card, is you want to push down with your thumb. Take a look, down. So it's the same as riffling down. That's the short edges of the cards. Push down and cut the deck. That's going to ensure you cut to one of the force cards. Turn the deck over, and as soon as they've just said Jack of Diamonds, they see a Jack of Diamonds here. It's pretty shocking. You want to act like this isn't a Jack of Diamonds. Start dribbling from the bottom up. So you're applying pressure, and they're going to see all Jack of Diamonds. Now, to really make this a cool psychological illusion, you say, but you could have picked a 10 of hearts, a 6 of spades, an 8 of clubs, a Queen of Diamonds. You're going to say this with a straight face as if you legitimately are seeing these cards different than they are, and they're going to either ask themselves, is this guy kidding around, or is he serious? Are these all different cards? And they're going to see all these different cards. This should just be a fleeting glimpse. You don't want to do this for too long. You don't want to sell this. You want them to have a moment of disbelief. Did they really see that? Did they not see that? So this happens pretty quickly. Now we cut an indifferent card to the face. The same action we used earlier. Push down with your thumb. Pushing down engages the long cards. So don't riffle up. Push down and cut the deck again. So now you'll have an indifferent card at the face. Turn them over and say, it's so strange you were all thinking of the Jack of Diamonds because there isn't even any Jack of Diamonds in here. Turn it towards them and let them riffle off. In the displaying section, you can learn how to do this properly. Because I took that Jack of Diamonds out of the deck before we even started. Show them an empty hand and pull out that Jack. You have honestly one of the best and easiest versions of Everywhere and Nowhere right in front of you. This is an amazing trick, and not only that, it plays vertically. What that means is you can do this for a room full of people. This plays much bigger than close-up. You can use this in parlor. You've got different sections of the room. Or you can do this for just 3 people on the street. It's amazing. It happens all in the hands. This is a true worker. This is the impossible location. This isn't really a routine, it's an idea and set of ideas for all different routines using this Svengali deck. In essence, the Svengali gives you the possibility of forcing a card, having it disappear and appear anywhere you want it to be. Now, in this case, if you have a Svengali, you've played around with it, you enjoy doing it, you're at home. Let's say you're a doctor, you're at your office, maybe you're a teacher, you do this for kids at school. You have some sort of location where you perform at a lot and you have the opportunity of setting something up in advance. Maybe at home. What you can do is buy another one-way force deck. So you could buy a deck of cards that's all Jack of Diamonds, if that's your Svengali force card, and put them everywhere. Put one in your shoe. Put one behind a frame. Put one in the cookie jar. Put one behind the certificate of your medical license. Put one in your desk. Put them everywhere, all over the room. Perform the force, put the card back in, and then show that it's completely and utterly disappeared. And you can then have somebody challenge you. Say, not only did your card disappear, you tell me where you want it to appear. And you can have them point to a place. You could choose a place. Tell them what would be impossible. Do you know what time did we start doing this trick at? They're going to say, well, I don't know. I go, why don't you look at the clock? And they'll look up at the ceiling, and right there, glued on the face of the clock, is their card. They could walk over there. It could be inside the glass on the other side of a window. You've got a card-through window. That's absolutely amazing. The limit here is only your imagination. So figure out how you want to do it, and then look at different ideas. You could have it put inside a piece of fruit, card in orange. Once again, you've got a winner right there. You know, a time-tested classic. Think about it, be creative. That's the card to impossible location. I want to give you a little brief rundown on how to do a deck switch. Some of the easier methods, 2 very simple ways to do it, neither of which require sleight of hand. You don't want to be the magician who's got 10 decks of cards for 10 different tricks. You don't want to be pulling decks of cards out from each pocket for every different effect. You want things to flow smoothly. Svengali, for example, the everywhere and nowhere routine is a great closer. It seems impossible. And if you do it with a deck that's seemingly been in use, handled by the spectators, shuffled, they see it's a regular deck, it'll be all the more powerful. I have 2 decks of cards here. We'll keep the Svengali in the box that says Svengali. Obviously, you wouldn't do this normally. And I have an ungaffed deck here. Imagine in my jeans pocket is the Svengali deck, just sitting in there casually. I take out the regular deck. I've been using it throughout. They've been shuffling it. They've been doing other tricks. And I'm done. I'm putting the cards away. I'm going to create a moment known as the offbeat. The offbeat is going to be where we're in between tricks. People aren't focused as well on me. They aren't really paying attention. They're still laughing. They're still reacting to the other trick. And I'm kind of joking. They're, wow, that was amazing. How long have you been into this? You know, they ask you questions. They're joking around. You're not in performance mode. I put the deck away, and I'll actually put it in my pocket. And as I'm putting it in my pocket, I'll reconsider for a moment. I say, you know what? I'm going to show you guys one last thing. You guys are great. You know, one last thing for you. And it happens on the sly, on the offbeat. This is not a move. This is very important for you to notice. This is not a sleight. This is a non-move. You're putting the deck away, you've reconsidered, and you take out the other deck instead. Be very careful that they're the same deck and they look the same. So you have 2 blue decks, it comes out, the other one comes in. In their mind, they're going to forget that ever happened. It's on the offbeat. Another way you could do the deck switch is time misdirection. You could put the deck away, go into a different routine, maybe do a mentalism item, maybe make a ring disappear, a rope trick, whatever you're going to do, and then say, you know what, I'm going to do one last card stuff for you, and you take the deck back out from the same pocket. Meanwhile, you're grabbing out the Svengali deck. That's another method of doing it where it seems the deck never went out of place. They've seen it the whole time. It's the deck you've been using. So you've got the time misdirection and the offbeat. I prefer doing it on the offbeat because then it really seems like they've kept their eye on the deck the whole time and they've been handling it. Give it a try. It's much easier than it looks. Those are 2 ideas for a deck switch. I'm going to try to change your perception. We have 3 different people, 6 different eyes. In a moment, everyone's going to see the same thing, or not. You're going to see what I mean in a moment. Deck of cards. Let's give this a shot. I'm going to break these up. Take a little group, a little group, a little group. Shauna, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to let these cards fall, and you're going to look at them. And I want you guys to see the Ace of Diamonds, the Queen of Diamonds, the 2 of Spades. They're all different. I don't know what they are. Same thing with all of them. you're going to see a card, you're going to see a card, you're going to see a card. Everybody right now take a deep breath in. Look at me for a second. That's the moment. I'm going to get everyone synced up. Good, good. Getting there, good. Okay, watch. Shauna, I'm going to go real slow. Whenever you want, say the word stop and look at one.
Stop.
Right there? Take a peek. Don't say it, just remember it. Keep it in your mind. That's going to be yours. I'm going to lay those down. Michelle? Same thing. I'm going to go real slow. You're going to see all different cards. Yell out stop whenever you'd like.
Okay, stop.
Right there. Get a peek. That one's yours.
Okay.
Keep that in your mind.
Okay.
Last but not least, Katie. Good. You're synced up. As I go, I'll go real slow. Say the word stop anytime you'd like.
Stop.
Right there. Get a peek. And remember it. Okay. Everybody is thinking of a card in their mind. Now what I did there, when I made everyone focus in on the same moment, is everybody kind of synced up into one. Let me show you what I mean by that. You could have thought of any of these cards. What I want everyone to do is when I clap my hands together, I want you to say out loud at the same time the card you're thinking of. 1, 2, 3.
5 of hearts.
Check this out. Here's the weird thing.
I was going to say
Because
ace of spades.
she was gonna. But you could have thought of any of those cards. You could have thought of the ace of spades, the 6 of diamonds, the 7 of clubs, the 10 of spades. They're still seeing it. They're still seeing it this way. You see this? The jack of clubs. Ladies, what you're seeing is not real. This is an illusion through and through. Snap. I want you to see. None of this was real. I want you to see this for a moment. This is not an illusion. What you've just seen is completely... Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hypnotize you guys, but not like you see in the big shows. It's going to take 2 seconds. You ready? Here we go. I'm going to start with you. Good? That was almost too easy. His mind was a blank right away. All right, you ready? Look up, look up. Good, perfect. Here's what we're going to do. This is very simple. Mix these up a little bit. We might be missing her cards because they're glued together or stuck. As I go through here, hold out your hand, and you take a bunch for you. Christy, Jeff, whoops. Take a bunch, and Donna, grab a bunch for you. Here we go. You're set, you're set, you're set. You guys are all synced up right now. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I'm going to let these cards fall slowly. Whenever you want, yell out stop, and you're going to look at one. It's just yours. Are you ready?
Stop.
Right there? I'm going to hold it up. That's just for you. Remember that card. If you got it, hold on to him. Jeff, same thing. Nice and slow. Whenever you want, say stop. Right there. Is that perfect? This is for your eyes only. Remember your card. Take them. And Donna, same drill. I'm going to let these go. You're going to see a lot of them. And whenever, oh, I'll do it in a sec. I want to make sure I'm not looking. Go for it.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Go again.
Stop.
Right there?
Yeah.
Go for it. That one's yours.
Okay.
Keep it in mind.
Yeah.
3 people, each thinking of a card from your own piles. Watch. This is the weird part. On the count of 3, now that you guys are all in the same frame of mind, on the count of 3, I want you to yell it so I can hear you everywhere. Yell out the name of the card that you're each thinking of, okay? On the count of 3, I want you to yell the card that you're thinking of. 1, 2, 3.
5 of hearts.
Okay, here's the weird part. No, I want you to look down. I want you to look down. Because this is an illusion. I told you I was hypnotizing you. You could have picked the 10 of diamonds, the 4 of clubs, the ace of spades. Your eyes are still tricking you, right? You're seeing it the same way? The king of diamonds. Can we see this on the camera? The 8 of spades. Here we go. Let's take it back out. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Out. Just got rid of it. You see, there is no 5 of hearts, folks. This is all a hypnotism because, wait, before I came over here, I put 1 card away, and it was the 5 of hearts.
Okay.
I'm going to hypnotize you guys, but nothing crazy. It's going to happen in 1 second. Look at me for a second. You ready? Boom. Okay. Look at me. Good. And look at me. What I'm trying to do is sync up your brains. You'll see what I mean in a second. It's not going to make any sense yet. I don't know. Let's take these out.
Scared you.
I know.
Maybe like pass out.
No.
I'm just go like this. Fall backwards.
Like dick in the room.
All right, you ready? I'm going to mix these up. Check this out.
3 or 5 all day.
Here we go. It's
ahead.
D, right?
D. Alright.
Hold out your hand. I'm going to give you a bunch of cards.
Okay.
And Julio, grab a bunch. Grab a bunch. Here we go. You ready?
Dr. Seuss,
Here's
Pete.
what I want you to do, man.
Alright, go ahead.
I'm going to let these fall. And you're going to look at one. Okay? They're all different. I want you to see this. Whenever you want, look at one. This is only for your eyes. They're not going to look.
Okay.
Are you synced? Yeah, okay, we're good. Say stop.
Stop.
Right there?
Yeah.
This is for you. Look at it. Remember it. That's
Okay,
yours.
got
Don't
it.
say it out loud. Hold it. Yours next. You ready? This is just for your eyes. Someone's stepping on the mic. Be careful. Oh. Say stop.
Stop.
Right there? This is for you. Have you got it? Good. Remember your card. Last but not least, Alex. Say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
Right there? Look at it. You got it? Everybody's thinking of a card. You guys all got a card in mind? Here we go. On the count of 3, I'm going to clap my hands. I want you to scream the card you're thinking of. I'm going to go 1, 2, and on 3 I'm going to clap. I want each of you to scream the card you're thinking of. Out loud. Go nuts. Your card, you're each thinking of a card out of this deck of cards. Scream it out loud. You guys ready?
Yeah.
You're all in sync. I just hypnotize you. You're going to see what I mean. 1, 2, 3.
5 of hearts.
Guys, look down, look down, look down, look down. You're seeing things. You could have picked the 10 of diamonds. You could have picked the ace of clubs. You could have picked the 4 of spades. You could have picked the 8 of diamonds. You could have picked the queen of clubs. You could have picked the 8 of diamonds. You ready? You ready? No. Let's make it go back. Boom, boom, boom. What you just saw was an illusion, guys. What you saw was an illusion. That was not real. The 5 of hearts you each thought you saw, that card, look at me, look at my hand. I have 1 card sitting in my pocket this whole time. It is the 5 of hearts.
Hey, who's David Blaine? Yo, you slap him up, yo.
I'm gonna try to hypnotize you guys, but it's gonna happen really quick, and you're not gonna believe it. It's gonna happen in under a second. Take a look. I'm gonna let these fall, and I want you guys to each look at a card. What's your name? Katie? Wag. And step on right in the middle for me. You guys separate, because each of you guys are going to see a card, and I don't want everyone else to see it. It's going to be a secret. Hold out your hand for me. Here you go. Grab a few. Hold on to them. Tight. Hold out your hand. Grab a few, and Wag, grab the rest. Katie, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to go real slow here. Say stop whenever you want.
Stop.
Right there?
Yeah.
Look at it. Remember it. Have you got it?
Yeah.
That's going to be yours. Hold on to these. Go ahead. Same thing. Yell out stop whenever you want.
Stop.
Okay. Look at it. Remember that one. Have you got it?
Yeah.
And one last one, my friend Wag. Go ahead. Say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
Okay. Get a peek. Have you got it?
Got it.
Everybody is thinking of a card. Now, this is something that's great with families. Look at me. Take a deep breath in. And relax. Good. Right there, I put the same image in everybody's mind. Everybody's in sync. Are you ready for this? Everybody on the count of 3, say your card out loud. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
8 of spades.
Folks, what you've just seen is actual hypnosis. You could have picked any card, the 10 of diamonds, the 7 of clubs, the 4 of spades, the 5 of hearts, any of these cards. So they're still seeing it. Did you see that? They still think they're seeing it. No, folks, that was an illusion. All of these cards are different. I've been hypnotizing you this entire...
Hey,